Hey y'all, it's Kadesha. I'm back with another video. One thing, I'll watch, I'm about to cut the video short. One thing I do appreciate about the generations before us is that they did things because they wanted to do things. And I don't know if it's because we're exposed and we have this outlet to where we can say everything that we've done, so people can, I guess, give us a pat on the back. I don't know what exactly it is, but we're a generation, or we're living in a time where people want to be recognized for what they did. And I'm not saying that people should not be appreciative of the things that someone does for them. No, of course not. However, the Lord tells us to let someone else praise you. So when we start to get into a place where we're saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, I don't know exactly what the consequence will be, but it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And I'm just like, okay. And I know I've been guilty of saying certain things that I've done, but I believe there is a time and a place to where you do say this without it being to where you're bragging on yourself. So it could be a teaching moment, or it could be a moment in which someone may say, you never do this. And okay, I gotta go. I will resume this video.
So like I was saying, yes, the generation before us, they did things because they wanted to do it, and they didn't have I guess maybe the reach that we have today, that they're able to tell of all the things they did. But I do believe it came from a genuine place. Like, they did things because they wanted to do it, not because they're going to get to say that they did it at a later date. And I am guilty of this. I'm like, hey, let me do something. I am keeping the books. Like, oh, I did this, so I can be able to tell you how far off you are. And the Lord, this is actually different, but I do believe the Lord is saying that we should not be able to keep count, or we should not keep count. Because you remember when, I'm going to say it was the disciples. I don't know if it was the disciples, but how they were questioning Jesus. They were already trying to trip him up. And they were like, how much should we forgive our brother? 7 times? And Jesus said 70 times 7. And it's just like, who's going to actually be able to keep up with that and say, this is, what is it, 70 times 7? So 7 times 7 is 49. So Lord, 490, that is a lot. Yeah, so I believe that's what the Lord is saying too when it comes to anything. Like, we shouldn't be able to keep count. We have to remember that, of course, we're not Jesus by any means. But Jesus died on the cross for people who he wasn't even sure was going to accept him. And we say that, it was like, he knows everything. So, he knew who was going to accept him. But it's just like, he paid the price for all of it. And this is not for us to say, for us to even be like Jesus, because we can't even come close. But I do not believe it's for us to keep count into which we do something for somebody and say like, okay, I did this and I did that, because you're setting yourself up for, and I wouldn't even say for failure, but for heartache, because we can't expect people to do what we would do. That's what we set ourselves up for. So when you're keeping count, it's not that you're doing it genuinely, because I do think, and I actually had to talk to a family member about this. And because I don't like to tell people what they done for me, or no, of course I don't like that. What I done for other people, I don't like to do that. But if I have to, I will. They're like, let me make sure I never ask her for nothing, right? But yeah, I remember me and somebody, we were having this conversation, and they were saying, yeah, this person, this, and this, and this, and this. And they was like, but they was acting this way, and I was very appreciative of what they did, and I thanked them, and they felt bad that the other person felt a certain way, because the other person didn't feel like they was appreciated in what they did. And the thing is, you can't tell somebody Even if you tell them a thank you a million times, you can't tell them that that's the way they should feel appreciated. Like they know how they should feel appreciated. They're like, oh, okay, this makes me feel appreciated. But then I went to tell them, I was like, well, I ain't gonna say what you did or what you didn't do with them. But I know that with me, you did not do that. I did something for you and you did not tell me, thank you, I'm so glad you did. You didn't tell me that. And you know what they did? They bust out laughing. Because the thing is, I'm not here to try to make you feel bad about the situation. But they knew it was true to what I said. And so they're like, you're right. And that's why I said, when I'm telling somebody something, it's for me more so not to make you feel bad, but to prove a point, for us to realize, like, when somebody does something, it's not for me to go back and say, like, this is what I did. It's like, I did it because I wanted to do it. And yes, I would be very appreciative if you were appreciative of what I did. But the thing is, if you're not, that's not going to change who I am. And I'm not going to do things differently or wish I did things differently because you didn't appreciate it in a way that I thought you should have appreciated or did whatever. What if it was send a thank you card, if it was send me a roses or whatever. But today we want a pat on the back for everything that we do. And unfortunately, we're doing it to our kids too. We're setting them up for the same thing. They were like, I do this and this and this for you. And it's like, sometimes, now for kids, you be having to do that. Because kids, they be acting ungrateful. They be act like they forgot. Like, they got a job or something. They forgot. They be acting like they forgot that what they have, you'd have bought it. So kids, you be having to remind them. However, it's not, like I said, I'm talking about in general for what you do. Don't just keep score. And that's just one thing that I really, really love and appreciate about the older generation. Of course, it wasn't all of them. Because some of them would tell you I did this and this and this. So it wasn't all of them, but it was a majority of them that when they did things, it's because they wanted to and they felt like it was the appropriate thing to do in that situation. And they did it. And not to say that the people who want the credit don't do it that way, but now they more so want to get an applause from everybody. And it's just like, well, did you do it genuinely because you wanted to, or you did it just so you could get an applause for somebody? And we just really have to be careful in that, because the Lord tells us that you have your reward. If you do things, and this goes back to, and I have a video on this too, showing alms. The Lord tells us not to do that. He said, because you have your reward. If you want to get praised by people because you've done something, that's your reward. And so don't expect for the Lord to give you some other reward because you have received your reward because you've gotten it from people. And so we have to be careful and to make sure that we're not doing things for the praise of people, but doing it because that's what is in our heart to do, and we follow genuinely after that. And the Lord is going to repay in ways that only He can, and you'll be much better. You will love that much better than getting the praise from this people that is, of course, only temporary. So thank you so much for watching. Like I always say, sácame que quieres ver en otros. Bumalaga na comida. Until next time. Bye.